Alright, so welcome back now to another video on how to become a business consultant freelancer. And today's video is about section 4 on how to conduct proper research as a freelancing consultant. Yes, this is something that I saw over the last 10 to 13 days. And the whole idea is to solidify and understand while also be able to articulate, to mention, speak that out, all what I have learned on how to conduct a proper research and get and gather quality data. Because data is something powerful because it can help you to influence or reinforce your point of view, persuade others, but also it can be misleading. So, especially when you're conducting a research for a consulting project, it is important to understand the source of this data, the quality of this data, from the most valuable to the least valuable. And this is from the first party data. This is data that comes with the company. They usually make you sign an NDA agreement because it is confidential. And once you are able to get that, then you can look as far back data as they have and to see what they have done in the past to kind of influence and to help you influence your decision and your recommendation. Right? This is the first set of data, the first party data. You take notes on that. Then also you have is the second party data from trust sources. This is data that comes from not anonymous sources, data from trust sources that have a great record, research report, peer review. You might or not depend on the source. You need to pay for them or not. You also take notes on this uh, secondary data, uh, and then you look at the aggregate sources. The reason of looking at this, which is the least valuable source of data, because you can check the quality of the sources. They might be behind some paywall, and uh, you cannot assure who the author really is. But the reason of looking at this type of data, especially for conducting a research, is that if you're not able to access the first party data and there's few or inexistent secondary data or trust sources, then you need to go to these aggregate sources, right? So once you know that, then you can see what is the common theme or the common step to conduct the uh, or the guidelines on how to conduct a research, which is play devil advocate with yourself, because remember, things are not always black and white. Sorry. Also, take great notes and keep record of every source that you obtain by gathering quality and relevant data, and you always check the source of those or the quality of those sources. Whether if you're looking for their website, you check for poor grammar, or something feels off, or something feels a little fishy from that. Uh, the whole idea is to understand this key aspect on how to conduct a research, right? So playing devil advocate with yourself, gather relevant quality data, take notes, and keep record of every source you obtain, and check the quality of your sources. Okay, because then I look at use case or case of study from the tourist website or from a tourist research from a tourist company, right? And this is again for the marketing side when the process is this. So they look at their website, understand what they're offering and all the product and service, then go to the specific by looking at their category, their pricings, what they offer, how much they charge, understand what makes this company unique because that's what they use or as a consultant I'm going to use that in my consulting suggestions. And then when you move to the first party data, if you can have access to that, to see, well, what they have done in the past, how they have been performing, and how can I provide my suggestions. Important thing. Important, very, very important thing. And then, if you are able to access to that first party data, that's great, that's awesome. So once you conduct your research and you compile your research with their data from their website, their brands, how much they charge, what they offer. Then you look at the competitor analysis to understand uh, who the other authors, to understand uh, who the other players in that industry are in that area by looking at what they're doing and see what you can learn from them and take keywords from that. Again, this is part of the secondary set of data if you can have access to that, all right? Or if there are trust source, if there's some trusted sources on that. Uh, well, that's what you can do here. Uh, Look at what see what they're doing, see what you can learn from them, and take keywords from that. Because all of those keywords, you can use that and put it in something called the keyword planner to get a broad perspective of what's happening in that industry. And on top of that, looking at the news to not only have a bigger picture of the industry, but also what's going on in the world. So you know how to conduct by no so you know by so you know how to conduct a research and what is most likely to work. So when you conduct so by knowing how you conduct a research here, mm, what is this? So by looking at uh, the keyword planner to have a clear idea of what's going on in that industry, and on top of that, then you can look at news, global news, to understand from a broader perspective what's going on in the world, so you can see how you can apply your research to what is most likely to work today. And that include is regulations, to see how that industry is adapting to regulations and where this industry is going. Okay? To me, again, this is part of this guidelines. Or it's not a fit set of things to do, but it is part of the guidelines that you can use, especially when you're conducting a research, and uh, to provide better suggestions on that. So again, this is the previous step before creating is a presentation, which is the second task that a consultant does, right? So conduct a research and then uh, analyze the data so they can present results. Okay, okay. So to get a more realistic example of how can we apply this, all right? Especially here, at the beginning, it's like, since I want to make this particular project, okay? Since I want to make this particular project of building an e-commerce with micro frontend, Nox, and Vue, and record the process, okay? Uh, mhm. And record the process. So, um, so the goal here is to see how you can implement micro frontend with Nox and Vue, right? The recorded process. So, because right now I'm going to make a research here because I'm conducting a consulting project to make a POC, okay, to build a POC e-commerce with micro frontend, Nox, and Vue, and record the process. Mhm. So the first things here is to look at their website. Okay, so look at their website. So again, it's looking for e-commerce, right? So what first conduct your research is by looking at the website. You say e-commerce, okay? What is an e-commerce? Because here there are several concepts here, like e-commerce and micro frontend. Okay, so you have this two concepts that we need to investigate: micro frontend, right? Okay. So e-commerce, micro frontend, Knox and Vue. Right? So we have Knox 3, announcing Knox 3, alright, and Vue, and Vue 3, right? Okay. So I know what is Vue for, to build UI using frameworks that brings reactivity, and they give you two main features. One thing is reactivity, so you can keep track every JavaScript state change, and the other is declarative rendering. So by using and extending the HTML in a Vue template, you can create HTML output that are binding to a JavaScript state. So Nuxt is a much more in this case Nuxt 3. So Nuxt is a much more uh, oriented. So Nuxt is a much more oriented goal tool to build web application. Whereas with Vue you can create the user interface. Okay, with Nuxt you can create is web applications, because modern web applications right now require you to have a framework that brings reactivity, use JavaScript. That's what they choose you. Also to server side your code in production and have a server running on development. Okay, that's what they use is Webpack or Vue for development. If you want to use the latest feature on JavaScript, you need a transpiler to that. You can use Babel for that. Uh, If you want to if you want to make server side rendering, you need a server that allows you to do that. So Nocturne provides you H3 to do that, and also that you can deploy your server code into serverless environment or web workers or any node instance. Additionally, a client-side routing library to handle the navigation on the user side, and that's just top of the it's just that's just the top of the tip of an iceberg. Yeah, and that's just the top of um, the top of the tip the top of the iceberg, the tip of the iceberg. Exactly, and that's the tip of the iceberg. So Nox provide you with all of these features and much more to focus is on your web application. So micro frontend is a way to collaboratively create front-end user interface and broad modern web applications in a more collaborative environment, regardless the framework you want to use, whether it's Angular, React, or Vue, Svelte, you name it, right? And the e-commerce is the end goal that you want. So in e-commerce, which is this electronic commerce, where you can buy and sell products online. Okay, so by combining it, all of this topic here, the user interface, uh, or the way of using this user interface uh, in a more complex modern web applications that we can collaborate with other people, regardless their front end framework level of expertise, to build products and service to sell that online. Okay, so that's the entire narrative here. Okay, okay. So when I look at the micro frontends, especially from Kianku, and it is important this type of narrative because first you improve your communicational skills. Second, you know what you're doing, which is crucial. And third, you decide where you want to go, and so on and so forth. So, so the process here of building a POC, a proof of concept e-commerce with micro front and Nuxt and Vue, and record the process, uh, we'll need to use is a headless CMS for that. Because here is now getting into the specific for this. So headless CMS, no, it's CMS. You can use Contentful, Jamstack, Strappy. It's a straightforward solution. Goes, directives, an instance recipe app for custom SQL database, an intuitive admin app for non-technical users to manage their content. Strappy is the leading open source headless CMS. It is 100% JavaScript, fully customizable, support TypeScript, and developer first. It saves API development time through a beautiful admin panel anyone can use. API driven and API driven. A firstly independent platform for professional publishing, headless Node.js, REST API for developers, beautiful Ember.js, admin client for editors, used by Apple, NASA, Skype, News, OpenAI, and many more. WordPress, Payless CMS, Tina, Keystone, Webiny, Cockpit, Publi, Pros, Builder.io, apostrophe CMS, Sanity, Craft CMS. But this is from PHP. It's an hybrid PHP CMS feature flexible content modeling. Jenkins, Statamic, Plasmic, Squidex, PixoAdmin, Gitbase, Superdesk, Gentex Mesh, Google Drive. What? Okay, content management system. Okay. Butter CMS, Cloud Canon, Cloud CMS, Comfortable, Contentful. Contentful is another. Content Stack, Cosmic Data CMS. It's a frame secure and powerful platform that enables marketer, editorial, and developer teams to build complex backend in minutes and to bring any kind of content anywhere. Storyblock here, Zesty.io, and typewriter. Storyblock. Hmm. So, we're gonna go. Yeah, I'm going with this. Strappy or Ghost and Directus. It's a database first platform that provides an instant REST API for custom SQL database and an intuitive stack. Strappy or Directus. You have Strappy or Directus. Directus follow a database first approach, storing all of your data unaltered in pure SQL database. Mhm. And this is Directus. Or when you project with a modern open source data platform. A modern data platform designed for developers. Directus installs on top of any SQL database. Mhm. Instantly layered on top of any SQL database. In Cucumber. Mm-hmm. 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 February 21, 20. Direct-to-use database mirror to dynamically generate REST endpoint and a GraphQL schema based on the connected database architecture. This means the REST and the GraphQL APIs will both fit any project with any database schema out of the box. Mm, mm. RESTful or GraphQL. Consume the API from any client, React, Vue or Angular, mobile apps, or even IoT devices in REST or GraphQL. How does it work? Easily builds app and digital experience without the distraction of CMS complexity. Mm. Step 1. Effortlessly create content structure that reflects your needs. Seamlessly write, edit, and manage any content type. Easily builds apps and digital experience without the distraction of CMS complexity. Consume strip API from any client using REST or GraphQL. Much better with GraphQL. Deploy on traditional servers or on any cloud platform. All your favorite dev tools work with Strapi. Gatsby, Vue, Nuxt, Next, React, Angular. Here's what people say about this. Sebastian Chopin. A match in Haven combined with Nuxt. Societe Generale. Strapi gave us a data-centric approach, centralized data hub. Mm, so I will go with okay, okay, okay. Why do you need a Strapi? That's the question. Well, if you want to abstract the layer of managing all the permissions and role, and, for example, who can access to certain content uh, between the users and the publishers or the admin, you delegate all of that to Strapi. You know, so in any case, in other words, you make the backend structure much more easy to do, right? And you focus this on providing to the client is a more um, you focus on providing to the client is a more self-managed CMS. Meaning, so for example, if they have a blog where they post a lot of things and stuff about the company and stuff like that, so yeah, so that might be one way of doing making that business to provide a blog or a product, like in e-commerce for that. Hmm. Okay. So build a POC e-commerce with micro frontend, Nuxt and Vue, and Strapi, and headless a headless CMS, Strapi. Okay. And record the process. I think that at least we have the idea of how you can start with this. All right. So build a POC commerce with micro frontend, nodes, view, and headless CMS, and record the process. Okay. Okay. All right. So that'll be all for this video on how to conduct and gather quality data for this. So again, taking note of what is an e-commerce here with micro frontends here. Using Knox and Vue and a headless CMS for this that. So your clients or your audience might be uh, so you might offer this as service, yeah, a SaaS service as a service. Okay, and the service here is that they will be able to manage their own content while you providing these features to make their website much more appealing, to improve their look and feel. And with that, lead is to a more user retention and user conversion. Okay? So that's the whole narrative here. That's the whole narrative here. Okay, okay. Interesting. So using is now this technology, right? It's using now this technology. So the whole point of this is to generate for customers that client can purchase, okay, uh, basically that, right? So not only product and service, yeah, not only product and service. And the cool part of this is that you're offering is a digital product here. You are offering is a digital product. Mm-hmm. You're offering here is a digital product here. Okay. All right. So with that, that'll be all for this video. So take care. Bye bye.